Hey everybody, let's go over what our expectations are for language arts today. We have 4 different activities that we're going to be doing. Lesson 16, activity 3 is an editing assignment. Lesson 9, activity 2 is a read aloud, some comprehension questions, and then the standards connection. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Okay, here is the editing activity that we're going to be doing today. When we look at editing, we need to remember some important things. So let's read the directions first. A comma comes after the heading, like Dear Bill, and then there's a comma. And after a closing, your friend Tom. So see these commas in here? That means you're pausing when you're talking. So a question mark is used at the end of a question, and a period goes at the end of a sentence. The first word of a sentence and names of people and places have capital letters. All words should be spelled correctly. So here is the important part. Let's highlight it. We are going to look for, my line's not quite so straight, but that's okay. Okay, here are important parts. Look for 5 words that need a capital letter, and 5 places that you need a comma, a question mark, or a period. So those are going to be all of our pieces of punctuation. Look for 5 words that are spelled wrong, and it says use your word wall to help you spell the words. So remember, our word wall words are those high frequency words. So I can share that with you as well so that you can take a look to see those. So let's start at the beginning. Dear Mrs. Perez. So what did we learn up here? A comma comes after a heading. So it should say, Dear Mrs. Perez, and then we need a comma. So that was our first instruction. So I'm going to put a comma right here. And then remember, it says after the closing, like your friend Tom. Well, in our letter, it says your student. So that's going to be pretty similar. Okay, so that's the closing. So your student, so we need a comma right here. So far for our punctuation, we already have two spots of punctuation, and we need 5. So we are getting close. I'm going to put a tally mark right behind me on the board so we remember how many we need. So I've written punctuation up here, and so we have 2 commas. So far we have 2 parts of punctuation that we need. We also need some capital letters, so I'm going to write capital up here. Capital letters, and what else are we looking for? Incorrect spelling. So this will help us make sure that we're finding all of the pieces that we need in our letter. Dear Mrs. Perez, what do you notice about this part? There's something that's missing. Yeah, we need a capital letter. So Perez is her her last name, so that's a proper noun. So that's going to be capitalized. So you can just write right over the top of this. Dear Mrs. Perez. I'm going to make a capital P, and then over here, I'll also put a tally line. We have 1 capital letter. I learned a lot about motion in gym class today. Are we okay with that? Everything spelled correctly? I learned a lot about motion in gym class today. That looks great, right? Has a capital letter at the beginning, has punctuation at the end, it's a period, and all of the words are spelled correctly. So this next part looks a little funny because it doesn't have any punctuation in it. So let's see. I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net. I used the force of my foot to move the ball fast. My favorite part was kicking the ball up and watching it fall down. I like to play soccer. So I had to read that really fast because it was all one sentence, right? If it was more than one sentence, I would be able to breathe in between and it would make a whole lot more sense. So what do you notice about the first part of this sentence? Yeah, it needs to be capitalized, right? So I'm going to continue with what I did before, how I made the capital letters red. Then we can keep track of these a little bit better. So I'm just going to make a capital I right here. It's the beginning of a sentence, and I know the beginning of a sentence needs a capital letter. I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net. I used the force of my foot to move the ball fast. My favorite part was kicking the ball up and watching it fall down. I like to play soccer. We need some punctuation, don't we? So I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net I used. Where do you think we need some punctuation? I used black for the commas, so let's use black for that. Oh, I forgot to put a capital letter. Tally. 2 tally marks for capital letters. I got to play soccer. Could that be the end of a sentence? It could, but look at the next part. It says, and kick the ball into the net. So that sounds like when it says and, I feel like that should be a compound sentence. So I think that's just a longer sentence. Let's figure out where it could end. So I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net. Would that be a good spot to put punctuation? I think so too. So we're going to put a period right here. That is the end of the sentence. So now let's look through the sentence and see if we can find any misspelled words. I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net. Another tally for punctuation. Which word is spelled incorrectly? This word ball, right? We don't need this H. So all I'm going to do is cross out this H. So now it says ball, B-A-L-L. Oh, actually, I don't like the look of that. Let's try to write it. This is so much easier if I was on my iPad instead of on my computer. Okay, I don't really like that either. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to erase that. And I'm just going to underline it because I know it's spelled wrong. There we go. We're going to do that instead. Okay, I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net. Sounds like a good sentence to me. So we have one misspelling, right? So can you see me? There, one misspelling. Okay, we're going to continue. So we are going to read the next sentence. I used, whoa, what do we notice at the very beginning of the sentence? It's not capitalized. All right, so we need to put a capital I. I'm going to use my red for capital letters. I used the force of my foot to move the ball fast. My favorite part was kicking the ball up and watching it fall down. I like to play soccer. Okay, what are we missing? What do we notice about this word? Move. Yeah, that's not spelled right, is it? So we don't need one of the O's. So can I just like cross out one of the O's? Maybe I'll do that up here with this ball. I don't need this H. So move. We don't need that extra O. So I'm going to put another tally mark by our misspelled words. Okay, so we've got 3 punctuation, 3 capital letters, and 2 spelling errors so far. I use the force of my foot to move the ball fast. That sounds like it's the end of a sentence because I kind of just stopped right there, didn't I? So I'll put a period right here. And then what about this word fast? How should it be spelled? Yeah, we don't need that E. I know a lot of words have that silent E, right? But this word does not. We do not need it. Okay, this is another beginning of a sentence. What should this have? A capital letter. Nice job. So my... Did I do another spelling error? I have 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Punctuation. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm very good at keeping up on these, am I? My favorite part was kicking the ball up and watching it fall down. I like to play soccer. Okay, so what do we need here? My favorite part was kicking the ball up. I don't think that's how you spell up. What letter don't we need in here? Yeah, the H. Nice job. So we don't need that H. Up. 4 spelling errors so far. And watching it fall down, I like to play soccer. So we don't need punctuation at the end. It's already here. So are we missing one somewhere? Dear Mrs. Perez, I learned a lot about motion in gym class today. I got to play soccer and kick the ball into the net. I used the force of my foot to move the ball fast. My favorite part was kicking the ball up and watching it fall down, period. Whoops. I forgot I was doing black for those, wasn't I? Period. There we go. So we've got all 5 punctuation. I like to play soccer. So we have another beginning of the sentence. Capital I. We found all of our capitalization errors. And I like to play soccer. There's one more spelling error. Which word is spelled incorrectly? Yeah, the word like. We need an E at the end. There we go. We found them all. Nice job, guys. Okay, the final 2 things today. Sorry, I'm going to move my picture over. Final 2 things. You are going to read this chapter out loud. So please either make a video recording, or excuse me, a voice recording, or read this to someone, either myself or another teacher. So those are your options today. Either have a Google Meet with me or another teacher, or do a voice recording of this. And then there are some questions that go with this. That'll be activity 9.3. So those will be the activities today. And I think that will take plenty of time. I'm actually going to not have you do the standards connection today, just because we need to see how this goes. And we are just starting to practice. So don't worry about those things. Only do the things on your unique that are assigned to you for today. Okay. So we'll just do the editing, the reading, and the comprehension questions. Good job.